Okay, and let's get started. So, welcome everyone. Let's go ahead and start our conversation today. We've got two amazing experts to guide us through. And first, I'm excited to introduce Viridiana Ponce. Viridiana Ponce is a business consultant and financial expert dedicated to helping small business owners plan for sustainable growth. As the founder of VP Consulting, she has spent 11 years supporting thousands of entrepreneurs in accessing funding, building financial roadmaps, and developing strategies that drive that long term success. With deep expertise in guiding businesses from hustle to sustainability, Vidi Diana brings practical, no fluff strategies that help entrepreneurs plan for the future, increase profitability, and make smarter financial decisions without the overwhelm. Sounds amazing to me. It's so good to have you here, Vidi.
So happy to be here with everyone.
Wonderful. And we are going to drop some places that you can stay in touch with Vidi in the chat. Next, we have Shanika Friesen. Shanika is the founder and owner of Romaris Apparel, a year-round collegiate lifestyle brand known for its commitment to size-inclusive apparel and hard-to-find plus sizes. A graduate of Huntington College with a background in business management, she has built her company from a seasonal startup into a multi-university brand serving customers across the Southeast. Currently, Shanika serves as a peer business mentor for the CARA program in Birmingham, Alabama. With a passion for entrepreneurship and community impact, she is currently studying for a certification in product management. She encourages others to pursue opportunities boldly and never accept no as a final answer. I love that. So great to have you, Shanika.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. And same with Vidi and Shanika, we have listed all the places you can stay in touch with them. And I promise you by the end of this, you're going to want to know what those are. So we'll drop those again. But let's go ahead and jump into our conversation. Vidi, I really want to start with you. When you look back at this year, what patterns or themes kept showing up in the businesses you supported, and what helped people move forward when things got tough?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the patterns and challenges that I saw so many of my clients face this year was rising cost and pricing pressure. So we saw like most of my clients were dealing with costs and like rising costs in like ingredients or packaging, labor, and tariffs. And that was really scary because they're like, am I going to continue making money or not? And so that that goes into like navigating uncertainty as well because since their costs were rising, sales were slowing down, they're like, what is going to go, what's going to happen? Am I going to continue, with my business? And then a third like trend and pattern that I saw was that people oftentimes go into this mentality of like, then I have to hustle more. I have to sell more. I have to like create more offers, more products, more services. I have to do more pop-ups. And so that's not always the answer. And that will probably be a theme of what I'm going to be talking about today about like um, simplifying things. But some of the things that helped my clients, with these challenges that they had was getting really clear on their costs. I've seen that so many small business owners, they don't know precisely how much something costs for them to either produce or for them to provide a service. And so that really helped out when we actually calculated and got super clear on the exact amount of how much something costs, including like these new tariffs or including like increased shipping prices or costs. And so that really helped us understand where we had to adjust prices strategically. We also had to retire some services and some products that weren't making my clients any money or make some changes to them. But it all started with getting really clear on your costing, really getting clear on like how to price strategically. And then another thing that really helps out is reviewing your finances consistently. I know it could be so scary, especially when costs are like they're like out of control or there's uncertainty or you've seen your sales dip, but that is a way that we can make decisions from an informed place and not from a place of like, well, sales are slowing or this is happening. Like let me guess what I should do. No, look at your finances. They're going to tell you a story. Some clients found out that they were actually doing all right despite these rising costs. Or they saw that a specific like sales channel or a specific product was doing really well. And that's always really reassuring to them as well. The other thing that really helped out is simplifying their operations and their offers. So really focusing on what is making me money, right? Like what is bringing that profit? And it's not always about doing more, more, and more because that's so overwhelming. As small business owners, we have limited amount of energy and resources and time. And it's not always about doing more, but it's about doing those things that are actually bringing money in and things that are actually working for you. Um, and another thing is reminding my clients that we can make decisions and we can change things up. Like we don't have to continue selling that product or service the way that we're doing. We don't have to continue with that low pricing. Like, or if something is taking so much of your energy up, we don't have to do it all. So that's what I would say. Those are a couple of things that helped my clients navigate these patterns and challenges that kept coming up.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I think increased pricing on everything has had a huge impact. And I really love what you said about having a very clear view. I mean, that's one thing about Vidi. She's gonna be like, look at the numbers.
Numbers, yes.
We need
Yes.
to understand the numbers. So I'm sure that will come up again, but just, taking all the fear out of it and getting down to kind of brass tacks and what we need to do is super helpful. Okay, Shanika, my next question is for you. When you think about your own journey this year, what's one challenge that pushed you but also helped you grow as a business owner?
Well, we're working in the retail sector. I definitely can appreciate all the things that Vidi said earlier about the tariffs and just the trajectory that we all started off with in 2025, and that may not be reality today. One of my many things has definitely been overcoming the, like I like to call them, the emotional buyer. Because I work in the retail sector and collegiate apparel, especially with the different college teams, sometimes, if their team is not winning, I couldn't give it away if I tried. So I had to figure out a way to reach them in a way to say, hey, besides you're buying this because this is your alma mater, or your child is currently going here, or you want your child to go here, let's look at the element of value, meaning what is the functionality of it? Is it something that you can tie to it? Do you feel the inclusion when you wear this? Think about the quality of it. Let's look at the value. I even offer suggestions on different ways they can wear a t-shirt that can go from just not being just from game day, that you can wear it in the office today, something that may not be so bold print, but you can still show people your school spirit. So it's also about really just having them to think more outside of the box, because not everybody is not price sensitive. They have no problem paying for it. But a lot of people say, well, where else can I wear? What else can I do with it? Well, just think of the other things that comes with buying this item. And in that case, that has worked where they end up buying multiple items. So it's just making sure that you reiterate the value of what it is that you're selling, whether that's a physical product or if it's a service. If you highlight those things, it gets their mind to going and giving them ease to say, okay, yes, I do need that. That did solve a problem that's going to help me in the future, that's going to sustain me now. So it's just about reminding them of why they need what you have.
Yes, absolutely. I love how translated that from, because that's not something I would even thought about. Like if their team is doing bad, then you're not getting that energy and excitement, and
Right,
how you as the business owner have to infuse that back into your brand. Oh,
right.
so great and so creative. I love that.
Brittany,
Okay.
can
Yes,
I just
please.
mention something because I love what you just said, Shanika, and that ties into like, yes, these rising prices that some like one, do not assume that your clients can't pay for it.
Exactly.
But two, it is our job as a business owner to communicate that value. And so that is so important and something that with all my clients, like whenever I'm teaching pricing and I'm teaching a pricing class later on today, like that is what we focus on as well. It's like communicate that value. And I love that you just shared like a real life example because we all need to be doing that every day, consistently.
Yes. Ah, so good. Okay, so Vidi, my next question is for you. So we often skip reflecting on what worked because it's go, go, go. But do you have a framework a business owner can use to turn the experiences of this year into something they can actually act on next year?
Yes, I have a really simple 5-step framework called the reset method. And Brittany, let me know if, thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so I created this really simple way for us to be able to reflect and make decisions because a lot of my clients were getting stuck in an issue and they needed an easy way for them to be able to like bounce back. And I really think that it's not just about focusing on the problem, but also focusing on like what did you do well? Because there's so many things that we do well and so many things that we accomplish as a business owner. And like you said, we're always like, go, what's the next thing? And we need to, I know slow down, which is it's really hard to do that. But this is what I share with my clients for them to be able to either reflect on the year, reflect on an issue. So the first thing that we do is recognize. So acknowledge your wins and your setbacks with honesty. So what is working for your business? Like what is working for you as a business owner? And that is so empowering when we are able to recognize that we are doing a lot of great things in our business. But then we also have to recognize like those setbacks and being really honest. And it's not about us punishing ourselves, judging ourselves. It's just going to help us in moving forward. The next step would be eliminating and simplifying what's draining your time, profit, and energy. And so oftentimes we're doing so much. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things that are aligned um, with our business, with our energy, and with profitability. And so sometimes that means we got to simplify things or we have to get rid of something. So it could be I'm going to give you an example of a client. My client this year was doing tons of pop-ups, selling her products from on her website online, and she was thinking about going into wholesale and like selling like 5 or 6 different ways. When we did the reset method, we did the recognize. She acknowledged that for her, what was working out was posting consistently online
Mm.
and then selling from her place and from specific pop-ups.
Oh.
Her setbacks were that she was um not all pop-ups were making her money.
Mm.
And she was starting to recognize like specific trends on which ones were the ones that weren't making her money. So when we talked about simplifying or eliminating what was draining her time and profit, she she's like, I'm no longer going to try and pursue all of the different ways to sell my products. I'm not going to try and apply every single like way to market my products right now. And then I'm not going to go to every single type of pop-up. So she simplified how she was going to be selling and the ways that she was going to be marketing. And then the systems. I always like to think that there's either a system or support. So systems could be systems or support of so that we can do things more efficiently. Oftentimes, as business owners, we forget that we're allowed to ask for help. We're allowed to not do everything in our business. So, something like bookkeeping, there's so many small business owners that say they're like, I want to do my own books. Why? Like, if you don't have the capacity, the expertise, or the experience, or the time, right? Like, this could be such a great place for you to like either hire someone or to get a system like QuickBooks. So we can do this more efficiently, right? So we can get the support that we need. So I would always ask myself and my clients, like, what system or support can you use to make your life easier? Then execute. We want to recognize or identify one bold action that we can take this week to work on. this issue. So, for example, if you've identified that one of the systems that you need or you need support with bookkeeping, one bold action. You don't have to take 50 bold actions, FYI, because we're always trying to do too much. Maybe you can just start with like, I'm going to ask fellow business owners like who they have as a bookkeeper, who they recommend. Or one step would be I'm going to research what is the best accounting system or bookkeeping system that I can use. Keep it really simple. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. You don't have to add 50 things on your plate. And then the last step of the reset method is being able to set a goal. And it doesn't have to be a financial goal. It could just be, what is the goal of, that you're setting, and setting a date is really important. And the other thing that I would add in here is thinking through how is this going to help your business. So for example, if we're using this bookkeeping example, the goal would be, okay, by the beginning or by Q1 of 2026, my goal is that I will have a bookkeeper. How is that going to help me transform my business? It's going to buy me back some time. I'm going to have 8 additional hours so that I can sell or so that I can rest. So I think adding the how it's going to help transform your business is what's going to help you stay really motivated. So you can run through this either using, you can think about your year, or if you have a specific challenge that you're dealing with. So many of my clients have used it to identify and get through a specific challenge as well.
Ooh, I love this method because it's like you said, it gets you out of being stuck and it's so clear, like moving forward with one action.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention, Vidi mentioned QuickBooks. So if anyone is thinking about, QuickBooks as their preferred a method of choice, we do have a discount code and we'll include that in the chat, and we'll also include it in the follow-up in case you just want to check it out or whatnot. But I think the key here is like figuring out what you need to do. Like you said, what is the next step? And then I love how you said like how it will transform your business. So I'm making this investment to hopefully pour into myself and expand my reach or impact or whatnot. So key. I really love that. Shanika, my next question is for you. So, was there a shift in how you organized your business, your time, or your workflow this year that made a real difference for you?
Yes, just like Vidi said, we are a small business owner, or I like to call us emerging businesses. That can include that you can still be the customer service, you're pretty much the employee and the owner. I noticed that a lot of time I would have lists, but I wasn't following through with them because you would think, I got to post on social media, I got to do this, I got to do that. Oh, then it starts you down this tunnel of you started here and now you're down here, and next thing you know, you're back in the kitchen again cleaning dishes that were in the sink. You're totally off task. But as a woman, sometimes our mind just works in, it's just like four-sided. Sometimes we always thinking about home and other places. But one thing I did was I decided to really look at all the different programs that I pay for every month, all the systems that I do have in place. I had to really decide is if this is important for me to be at TikTok on social media. Is it important for me that day to pay attention to my email list, or do I need to work on some back office things? Because what good would it do for me to run a promotion or even talk to you about any upcoming events if my staff can't handle that? So I had to really look at a lot of things and realize what's more important, because when you get into the social media aspect, if you really think about it, social media is a 8-hour day job. It could be because social media itself, they want you to engage sometimes for hours. They want you to meet those goals, so that includes you staying on longer. At that time you could have gotten several other tasks that needed to be done completed, but you're focusing on this one thing. So as much as we try to be everywhere at the same time, just like Dee said, you have to really understand what is most important and be that person at that time and pay attention to those things. So that's what caused me to really sit back and say what's more important. So that's why I depend more back up on my business tools, so that if I have a staff member that's out or that's not no longer working full time for me, then I have that in place where may have to shift, but I'm not totally thrown off. So it's very important that you really look at your foundation and see what you have in place and to make sure that it's growing with you and that it's not going against you.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I think exactly what you said. Social media is like an excellent example because you can spend forever on there. And sometimes, I
Right.
don't know about everybody else, I don't even be working. I'm just like, now I'm just on there. Now I'm just
Right, right.
my bad. But yes, it's so key. Like you need to know what tools you're going to use, if they're actually helpful, and should you be paying for them, either with your money or your time. I think you highlighted that so well, Shanika. Like even if it's a tool that, I don't know, maybe it's free or whatever, if you're not using it or it's sucking the time from you, then you need to move on. So that's so helpful. Um, Okay, Vidi, my next question is for you. What is a type of win that business owners often overlook, even though it matters for that long-term stability or growth?
Yes. This one's really, yeah, it was a great one for me to reflect on. And I think that what I have seen often is that business owners sometimes will look over something that I called an aligned offer.
Mm,
So, an aligned offer for me is something that you are selling that brings you joy, so that you love selling, something that your clients need. So, it's bringing your clients value, and that is making you money.
mm,
And the reason why I think oftentimes business owners like overlook that, it's because it feels easy. And sometimes I feel like when business owners think that something's easy, they're like, oh, it should probably be harder. And they overlook, like, no, this is exactly where we want to be. We want to feel like we're in the zone or in the groove, right? Like it should be easy. Like not everything has to be so difficult. And so sometimes I feel like we resist that ease because we're so used to being in hustle mode. And so I would say that if you have a product or a service that is easy for you to sell, that is bringing you money, that's going to help you in the long term, especially if it's something that you really love, because then we're going to talk about it in a different way. We are going to bring this like this energy to it that it's going to be unmatched. And so it doesn't have to be hard. And so if you have a product or a service that kind of fits, not kind of, that fits all three of these, joy, value, and money, go with it. Like go with it. It doesn't need to be difficult. So that's going to help you grow your business in the long term and sustainably.
yes. Okay. Was it joy, value, and money? If those things are
Yes.
aligned, it's like that aligned offer. Oh,
Hmm.
so key. And I like
Yeah.
that it focuses folks on, okay, what should I keep doing or what should I maintain? Because I do think, like you said, it's always what's next or what needs to be hard. Like, what hard thing do I have to tackle?
Yeah.
Okay, Shanika, my next question is for you. So, what is one lesson? I'm sure there are many, but what's one lesson from 2025 that you're taking directly in to your 2026 planning?
Well, I would say after just really reflecting on this question, I really looked at what I have become at this time as a business owner and as an individual. And I realized that you don't need to get too comfortable with where you're at. I think we've seen day to day, month to month, things change all the time. And we have unfortunately have received or been the recipient of some things that we never thought we would be discussing um, in our world today, and that trickles down to our businesses as well. So no matter where you're at, if you're doing well, if you're excelling, or if you feel like you're failing in some point, don't get comfortable in that, because it's not going to be the same always. So even if you feel like you're failing, is temporary. If you're winning, it can be temporary, but you have to make sure that you're prepared for the next stage of where your business is going. And even if you have a concrete plan, be flexible in that, because life will happen in between those plans. So don't become too comfortable where you're at, and study your data, your financial records, study your staff. How are you as a business leader? Are you effectively communicating communicating what it is that you want your employees to do, even if they're contract employees. Think about, just how you are as a person. How are you conveyed online? Are you really sending out the message, especially on social media or through your digital output? Are you really expressing how you feel and what you want your business to be known as, your brand? Are you expressing it to your potential customers? Are you expressing it to the customers that you have? You want to make sure that you are making sure that they are on this journey with you and they are valued. So I would always just say, just do not get too comfortable where you're at, because it can change.
Yes, I like both sides of that, right? Like, okay, if you're winning, prepare to maybe at some season not be winning, but also if you're not doing great, don't get stuck in that like, okay, well, this is just how it's always going to be. It's a
Exactly.
really like healthy mindset. I love that. Oh, so good. Okay, Vidi, my next question is for you. So what top metrics or numbers do you think every business owner should review before the year ends? And why does it matter for planning for the next year?
Yes. So if I had to pick one number to review, it would be profitability. And I would say reviewing your profitability by product and or service. Because every single product or service or offer that you have, it needs to be covering its expenses. It needs to be paying you, and it needs to leave your business a profit. Every single product, every single service. If not, then you are going to be overworking and underpaid. And we don't want that for you, right? Especially in terms of sustainability. We want you to sell things that cover your expenses, pay you, leave a profit. And that's completely possible to do that. Especially if you're doing like an aligned offer, if you are setting your prices like based on knowing all of your expenses and let profitability. So I would say make sure that you understand how much everything is costing you and how much profit it's leaving you. And then from there, the exercise that I would do is if it's something that is high profit and is a great seller, you have high demand, promote that. Like really focus on selling that product and that service. If it's something that perhaps like it's got decent margins and like perhaps it's like it's selling all right, think about what can you change to either give you better profit margins or for you to promote it in a different way. So how would you adjust that or simplify, whether it's the production part of it, or how could you, yeah, just deliver it in a more efficient way? And if it's something that is not making you money, it's not really hard to sell, I would really consider stopping that. And I know that's so difficult, but my clients have seen when they focus on this metric on profitability, they're like, oh my God, they're like, I didn't know that I could make more money, even if they're selling less, even if they sell less. And that's because of the profit. I had a client that we did that exercise um, this year, and they have a restaurant and a catering business. And we've been like following the profitability. We also worked on projections. And next year, they're not going to renew the lease on their restaurant because they saw that by just focusing on their catering business, they're going to have the bigger profit margin with half or even like less than half the work.
Wow.
And that's because it's easy to sell. They love doing that. It's going to give them the work-life balance that they want so they could spend more time with their three daughters. And it's making them money because they've priced it out properly. They have the right clients. They have that demand. And so by doing less and by focusing on the right offer, they're going to be making more money. And they're already seeing it now. And so it's such a powerful metric for us to take a look at.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, go ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No, no, no. Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy to think that you can, as um a restaurant and a caterer and then, it seems like it's a natural progression to maybe to go from, a restaurant to have a catering. And I would never think of dropping one of those. And I thought you were going to say they were dropping the catering,
Oh
because
no.
I automatically think that. But that is why it's so important to look at your own numbers. And it's like you said, even less than half the work. And I love that you mentioned not only is a product paying for itself, but is it paying you? Is everyone in this room getting paid for their services? We care about that. And I
Mhm.
know, Vidi, I've been in a lot of calls with you and Shanika as well. And having that passion about making sure your numbers actually fuel the work that you're putting in is so key. So, so many good things in there. And I just want to remind everyone that you can drop questions for Shanika, Vidi, both in the chat, and we'll do a live Q&A in a little bit here. But don't want y'all to forget that you have access to our experts today. So Shanika, my next question is for you. Was there a specific tool or app or system that made your day-to-day easier this year? And how did it change the way you actually worked?
Well, I made a list. So I put myself in a position that if I was going to start over and I had a business idea, what would I do? So I made this list. And so the first one is called Go Zigzag. So that's GOZIGZAG. Okay. The reason why that is helpful because it's going to take your business idea and it's going to formulate all the stuff that we went to school for. Instead of doing the SWOT analysis, it's going to help you do that as well. So it can help you with an elevator pitch. It's going to give you a good little summary of a hypothesis, just kind of give you a little bit of a pros and cons of the insight. I still do a lot of hardcore research on those things, but this is going to help someone who may not know a lot about those things. If they had no idea where to go or what to do and they want to get more information outside of social media and really get some hardcore facts, that would be something that I would use. With that, it also, like I said, gives you the pro and cons. And from what I checked again this morning, they do have two more tiers that they're going to offer on it, but they're coming soon. But they do offer a free plan. Some of these do cost a month. So just keep that in mind. But if I was going to pay money, I would pay money to get that information instead of you spending hours on hours and hours. We do have to embrace this AI generation that we're in. So I do feel like this is a good way to introduce that to you. The other one is the one I live by. It's called B Plans. BPLANS. So the letter B, plans. Okay. This one is your one stop shop if you're looking to create a business plan. It's going to help you with projections, it's going to help you with even the tone of how you will want your business plan to sound. If you wanted to do a summary, it can help you with the projections about, think about 2 years or longer out. It can give you pie graphs. It can give you, like when I say this is a one stop shop, this is where you're going to go. So you have one place that you can formulate your business idea and get a good idea of how realistically do you think this idea would be, profitable for one. And then two, you have B plans is going to help you create that business plan. Okay. Now, like I said, this is going to help you at ease. You can keep it. And I think that's about $20 a month and it's going to help you grow. So if things change or if just say you were going to use Vidi and she tell you, hey, I like where you're going with the idea. It looks very viable, but you may want to change some things. It's going to help you tweak those things. So that's something that's good. Another one is called task aid. It's TASKADE. Now, this is another one. If you have employees, whether that's part-time contract, or even if your kids are part of your employee package at this point right now, this is going to be, I would like to say, your digital dry erase board. You can help create websites. It has a dashboard where whatever task you have, everyone can put the information in, and in real time, you can know exactly what person has did what and how much of that they have completed.
Mm.
So this is another way that if emails is, sometimes people don't always check their emails at the same time. You may be a couple hours behind. Things happen. This is a way where they can actually put in exactly where they started off at because that part may need it, completed by one person and then the next part needs to follow up. So think of this as like you are your own project manager and it's going to help you with that. Now, the last one is storied AI. So that's STORY letter D, dot AI. The reason why it's important to put the AI because it may come up YouTube and we're not looking for little videos of Teddy Ruxpin or anything. So you need to add that in. Now, this is going to put you in the mind of when we use Microsoft Word. I may be telling my age a little bit, but okay. But instead of Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, this is like PowerPoint times three. Okay. This is going to give you better visuals. This is going to give you a better presentation. So if you are currently even in your job, if you work in project management or you're still working because everybody's not been are not able just yet to do this full time. But if you're looking to expand or if you're looking to get some venture capital, things of that nature, this is going to help you do that. This is going to give you the pop that you need to show people your idea and really keep them engaged because we are visual creatures, you know? So this is something that I would use if I was going to present my idea. This is something that I would use. I think it's about $20 a month as well. I think it's about 20. But that could be something that you can grow into. They do have a trial period. So you can also, if you're at that point where you have the information and you just need to make this presentation, that's when I would use that trial period. Play around with it, but I'm saying utilize your money. We're at the time now where we're definitely looking at every penny that we're spending and make sure that it's effectively being used. So those are the things that I would use and I have used. So I live by B plans, zigzag, and I definitely use task aid. So I'm happy with all of them.
Yes, wow, those I love it. We got four right out the gate, and it's so helpful too as you think about, okay, I'm ending this year. What do I want to do next year? Maybe you want to be more organized or use your business plan more, or maybe it needs an update, or maybe you need to pitch, like you were saying, Shanika, and so you need like that edge, and these can help you. It's like blending that tech with your expertise and just helping you kind of shine. So helpful. Oh, I love it. And we have captured all of those. I know Amber has been dropping them in the chat, but we will also make sure that they're in the follow-up resources that we're going to send you. Okay, my next question is for Viri. What is one habit or weekly ritual you've seen make the biggest difference for business owners when it comes to staying focused and consistent throughout the year?
Yeah, so this one um, is a weekly ritual that I've done since I started my business 11 years ago, and it's scheduling time to schedule. So once a week, we need to sit down and decide before the week begins, what are we focusing on this week and even the following week and the following weeks? But start off with, we haven't done this before, like start off with the week ahead. And then as you're going through that, then also identify things like what can I delegate? What can I delete? Not everything is a priority, right? Once again, it's like with this theme of like simplifying, not trying to do every single thing, not getting sidetracked with like all of the million things that we could possibly be doing or with like social, like going down that social media, like, spiral. And what absolutely needs my attention. And so this has been a practice that I've been doing, like I said, 11 years, for 11 years now. And it's really helped me to reduce overwhelm, to keep my energy just like aligned with my priorities and stop reacting to like things being thrown at me and start being really focused and really intentional with my time. And then it also um, helps me when if there is a meeting like for me to determine like can I take this on or not, and it's something that I am constantly looking at and I live by my schedule. And now I can look at it like months in advance and be like, okay, like this is what's going on, this is how it integrates into my personal life as well. And I'm able to also determine like will I have enough energy like based on the types of work that I'm doing, right? Like how many workshops am I doing or giving in the week? Because that I've got limited energy, and it's not every single meeting is the same, right? Workshops take so much more energy, or if I'm teaching, it takes so much more energy than me being in a meeting. But then consultations also take a lot of, brain power. And so it's really helped me by doing this is to also identify like when can I take certain types of meetings? When can I be doing specific types of work? This is where I also identify like when am I getting my marketing done? When am I having meetings with my team? When am I, doing billable work? When am I working on my finances? And so it's just been so helpful to be in control of my schedule and to decide. And then just yesterday, I was telling a client that something that's really helpful for me as well is that if I ever have an idea or I hear something really good at a workshop, but it's not the right time, like I don't have capacity or time in my schedule, I put it in my calendar like 3 months or 6 months down the line so that there's a place and it's not in my brain that I'm holding that information. And so I'll be like, hey, revisit the resources that Shanika shared today, for example. And that's such a helpful tip. And when I shared that with her yesterday, she's like, that's great. She's like, I'm going to look into this like franchise opportunity that was just brought up. She's like, but in 6 months, because right now I'm focused on holiday sales. I'm like, perfect. So it's just such a helpful tool for us to like offload what's in our brain and then for us to be able to prioritize them as well.
Oh, so
Mm.
many good tips and like so helpful. I love how that too like tied into what Shanika was talking about earlier, just about how, like maybe you're not in the right season. Like depending on what this
Mhm,
season is bringing you, maybe a franchise
mhm,
opportunity or a new partnership isn't good, but in 6 months when you're maybe having like a little more of a lull, you have more
mhm.
space, you can bring that up without being like, what was that great idea that someone told me about 6 months ago? Because I don't know about y'all, but my memory is not that good.
Mine isn't either.
Yeah,
That's why it all lives on my calendar, so I
yeah.
don't have to retain things in my head or as many things in my head.
Yes, it's super helpful. And I also like how you pinpointed different things require different energy. And also, some things you're going to have to do every week, or you should be doing every week. So, laying out your week, making a list, understanding the different energy, it's going to be important to actually getting things done. So, I that is like a great ritual to keep people consistent. So, if consistency is an issue, and you're here joining us, I would really recommend that because I know consistency is rough for me. Okay, so we have a final question in our kind of structured Q&A, and then we'll go into questions from the audience. So first question, it's the same question for you both, but Shanika, I want to ask you first, and then Vidi. As we move into the new year, what is one thing you think business owners should do before 2026 begins?
Well, it's a little bit of multiple, but I would say first, give yourself grace. This is a marathon, okay? Some people are very much first generation business owners, so you don't always have the blueprint. And as creative as our minds are, you may be doing something, even such as myself, where you don't have like a mentor at the beginning to really help you navigate these shark infested waters. So give yourself grace because it's going to be a learning process no matter how successful you are. Even your failures have lessons in them. There's very hard lessons, but they are lessons. I would also say look at all your business tools, whatever that business tools look like for you. Like we mentioned QuickBooks and a couple of the places that I've suggested that you can also use. Even your physical, if you're in a physical building, look at that and see if that's something, like you said, if it's still viable for you to do. I would also just look at just more so of how and why you started that business and where and how you're really ascertaining that goal. Like, are you really on track to that, or are you kind of like deviate because it's something that a new trend is offered and you figure like that's going to help you get there faster, and this is, like I said, it's a marathon, so you don't want to overwhelm yourself with that. And if something is not performing well, and I'll just say this, like I said, because I sell physical products, if something is not performing well, look at your product. Look at a very much a high value ticket that you have and a low value ticket. How can you combine those? Because sometimes if you can make it, such as like a combo, and split the difference in that, it gets it off the shelf. It gets it off. you're no longer keeping it for an inventory for another year. So that's the purpose of it. It's not for you to buy and admire it because it's still sitting there. You want to buy it in hopes that somebody loves it and they want it. So look at some things that you're selling and see if that's something that maybe you can combine, or again highlight the effectiveness and the value in those things and move those products or those services. So that could be some things now, because a lot of people are going into a thing where, okay, I'm spending this money. It needs to solve more than one problem.
Mhm.
Make sure that you're able to do that for people. So that would be some of the suggestions that I would say think about going into tomorrow, not just next year. Think about what you can do tomorrow.
Yes, yes, bring that forward. Do it tomorrow, do it ASAP. And Shanika, I love how you've shared so many like key details with us on how you can communicate the value of the product based on what's going on outside of your business. Like you can use those to influence like buyer behavior, and that has been just super helpful. Um, Vidi, same question for you. As we move into the new year, what is one thing you think business owners should do before 2026 begins?
Oh, I also want to give like multiple, but one I'm going to say, do the reset method because it's such a beautiful, powerful exercise to reflect on your wins and just remind yourself that like not give yourself grace, like Shanika said, and also be proud of yourself of what you have accomplished. Even if you haven't met all your goals, like you are doing it. And having a business is hard and there's it's so much. So I would say like do the reset method so you can do like wins and identify like the support and systems you need. On top of that, I would say set three goals, with one of them being a financial, like your revenue goal. And keep them clear and simple and personal, like something that really is important for you. I think oftentimes business owners, they set so many goals and then it gets overwhelming. And then because you're not really aligned with them, you're not really going to follow them. And you just set them just to set them. I'm like, don't do that. Like, set a revenue goal. That's one of them. And then two other goals. Like keep it really simple and then put it somewhere where you're going to see it every day. For example, I've got my financial goals on a weekly basis. I know what those are. And so I have them on my calendar. And it gives me such a great reminder of what that goal is for the week. And
Mhm.
so it's just like a constant reminder of like, okay, if I want to get to my bigger goal, this is how much I need to make on a weekly basis. And it keeps me really motivated. It keeps it in my face. And not having 1,000 goals also makes it so much easier for me to reach them. And then once I reach them, I'm like, now I can set new ones or not, right? Or not like but I feel like, yeah, having like clear goals, three of them is going to be really helpful. So you can go in to 2026 like with this energy of like, I know how much I want to generate and then start, planning how we're going to get there.
Yes, absolutely. I like the clarity in that and like the finite it's three because I think maybe you and Shanika mentioned sometimes we just like, oh, do this and this and this and this and this. And now you got a list of 30 things, and that's like a lot. Even if you're looking at a year, three things is honestly a lot. But if you stay focused, like
Mhm.
that is just, it's kind of framing it differently, it feels more manageable. I
Mhm.
love that. Okay, so thank you both to Vidi and Shanika for answering all of those questions and sharing so much insight. We do have a couple of questions from the chat that I want to share, and I think these are super like helpful and good. So, Vidi, I want to start with you and Shanika. Obviously, like we're very casual here, so you can add. But Biddy, this question says, what number should I focus on if I didn't track anything consistently this year?
Yeah. Okay, great question. So I would say start by tracking your sales, right? How much money came in? And then how much money went out, right? And start with those because if we do revenue and all of your expenses, we're going to get your profit and we're going to know, did you make money? or not. So I would say start out with those. Obviously, we would want to get like more specific in terms of those categories, and that's why using a bookkeeping program that can help you do that, not manually, but just automatically is so helpful. I know Axion also has an article about like selecting bookkeeping systems. Um, that I always recommend to my clients. I was like, take a look at that article because it shares a couple of great options that we have as for business owners. But I would say sales, expenses, and then profit.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to get that link to
Mhm.
that resource so you guys can have it. Shanika, this question, I want to kick it to you. So, what kind of process do you use to track your data? And this person is specifically wondering, like, how can they do it without spending hours every week? So, curious about your process and what you do.
Well, my business right now is at a point where I do have a good handle on like inventory sales. So I do use, like I said, the analytics from social media. I use the analytics from my website that can tell me how many people came, how many people things is on the shopping cart. If they have the abandoned shopping cart feature where it may send them an email and say, hey, you left something in your shopping cart. Also, I do continue to count my inventory so I know exactly what I have on hand and what's out. I've set up on, I use Square Up for my website. So with that, you can add a feature where you can, once you put in your inventory, you can put a notification in that says when the stock is low or if it's completely out. So that lets you know right there, you got things are working for you while you're sleeping. Another thing that I use is the Google Analytics. Of course, Google's going to tell you like you had this much percentage, your performance is this much, is this negative. We had some people to click your link. So those are some things that I use to kind of keep up with the inventory, just the digital footprint, like who's coming, who's going, and trying to find out exactly why they either did not buy or they're still lingering on it. Maybe they need a reminder. So we do have a lot of things that we can use now where we don't physically always have to be on our phone or checking our website. You can really just set those reminders and go back and, like she said, schedule a time to go in and look and find out. And being that we're right on the cusp of Black Friday, this is some vital information that you need to know regardless of what you're selling. So definitely, if you
Mhm.
have not, go ahead and do that and
Yeah.
get into that and set those notifications up. I'm pretty sure like Shopify has something similar as well. If you're still using, I know we were talking about QuickBooks now, but I keep a notebook. Okay, I keep a notebook. And
Whatever
there's nothing
works.
wrong
You're
with
like,
that.
nope.
Yeah, I keep a notebook, but at the same time, I do have to embrace those things too. So don't be afraid to use what's comfortable and something that's going to challenge you because we are still pushing forward no
Mhm.
matter what. So embrace those things.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. And it's like you
Mhm.
said, Shanika, it's whatever is going to work for you. And Vidi, you
Yeah.
mentioned this as well. It is
Mhm.
not about, there's so many tools and you can think about it. There's a tool that is willing for you to come give your 20, 30, $40 to use it. But
Right.
are you going to use it and is it going to be helpful for you? So I love a notebook. Listen, I got a notebook too.
Okay.
Yeah, see, we're notebook people.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Vidi, Shanika, I feel like we could really go on and on about this topic, but there has been so much valuable information shared. This feels like one of those topics that you listen and you revisit as the year comes closer so you can really, plan what is coming up for your business. To everyone here, we thank you so much for joining us and spending an
Mhm.
hour with us. We know time is your most valuable resource, and we really appreciate you spending it here with us. We're going to drop where you can stay connected with Vidi and Shanika just to stay in tune with them. And also, Vidi is one of our business coaches. So we mentioned earlier that,
Mhm.
AOF offers free expert advising. So if as you're wrapping up your year, Viri works with a team of excellent advisors if that's something you need and someone to join you, we're going to share that resource as well. Shanika, thank you so much for joining us shortly after homecoming. So we see you.
Right.
Thank you so much. We
Thank
appreciate you. Vidi, as always, thank you for joining us. And
you.
thank you to all of the attendees. We will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Gracias. Bye.